Unlike our friends in the Northern Hemisphere, we are lucky enough to be coming into spring here in Australia, and that means it's time to start preparing our indoor plants for the growing season to come. Hi, I'm Nicole from Whittle Grove, and today I'll be sharing with you the ways that I get my indoor collection ready for the growing season to come. I don't know about you guys, but I have killed so many plants in the start of my journey because I just kept watering them during winter. But thankfully, I finally learned that you need to just dial that right back or you risk losing them to root rot. But now that it's warming up, it's time to give them a huge drink. So I just bring my babies out onto the lawn, set them up and give them a huge drenching with the garden hose. And I do this for two reasons. So the first reason is they're going to be thirsty, so I really like to just flush the soil thoroughly because, you know, minerals and things can build up, especially here in where I live, we have quite harsh water. So giving them an opportunity to just flush that soil of all of that build up is an excellent idea. And another reason for that is the leaves. They can get pretty dusty over the winter, especially when they're getting a little bit more neglected than they usually would. So go for max efficiency and I just blast that dust off. While I have them out here, the next and most important thing that I do is it's time to fertilize them. Much like watering, we don't really need to fertilize them during winter because they're dormant, they're not hungry, they don't care. But as they're waking up, we want to make sure that they've got all the food they need to throw us some beautiful leaves. I do it in two ways. So first of all, because they haven't had any they haven't been fed, I like to use a slow release fertilizer. I'm just using this Osmocote indoor plant fertilizer. It's slow release, it's granular, it's easy mode. You just sprinkle it on the top, no worries. In addition to the slow release fertilizer, I like to also give them a tonic. My tonic of preference is sea salt. As it starts warming up, I will go from giving them monthly sea salt to fortnightly sea salt just to really give them that extra boost that they might need because growing plants are hungry and they need that goodness. Sometimes fertilizer might not be enough and some plants will need to be repotted. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like they've got a finite amount of nutrients that can be kept in that soil. And if they've been growing in there for a few years, it probably is time to give them a bit of a freshen up. The reason why I do this at the start of spring is because that is when they have the most energy. They have the most energy to recover and bounce back from having their roots disturbed and whatnot. So if you feel that if the soil is looking a bit dead, plant's a bit root bound, whatever, just repot those bad boys and give them the best fighting chance they have for the spring season to come. And when I'm repotting my plants, I make sure to size them up if I need to. Sometimes they might just need a bit of fresh soil. Some plants like to be root bound, some plants like space to move and grow. It's all entirely up to what your plant prefers. And sometimes you might need to do a little bit of homework into that. It's also time to do a little bit of spring cleaning. And so for me, that means I like to wipe down the leaves. So I've already blasted them and now I'll come through with a microfiber cloth and wipe them down. I'll also give them a bit of a treatment as well because I want to make sure that as it starts heating up and all the bugs start coming back to life, that they don't have an opportunity to make a home on my plants. So I'll give them a wipe down with some bug spray or some neem oil or pest oil or whatever, basically whatever I've got on hand. I'm not a fussy person. And while I'm doing this, I'll also inspect the plants for any damage because, I mean, it's been 3 months of neglect, so they can get a little bit busted up. And once again, we want to make sure that our plants have the best possible start to the growing season. And also gross leaves are just kind of ugly and we ain't about that life, especially if you're on Instagram. So I'll go through and I will chop off any leaves as well that are looking a bit manky. So while we're doing the spring cleaning, not only will I clean the plants, but I'll also clean the locations where they've been living as well. Just give it a bit of a really good, thorough dusting, cleaning. And one big thing that I might do as well is I might also reposition the plants too. And the reason why I will reposition the plants is because as the sun is moving from its winter orientation to its summer orientation. So for me, the sun is more to the north of my house, but as we come into summer, it sort of swings more to the south, and my windows get absolutely pelted in the summer. So I have this shelf that's currently living up against the window, and the plants are actually, they're probably not getting quite enough light, but in a few months' time, they will get absolutely obliterated by the fiery Western Australian sun, and they will be roasted alive. So in instances like that, I will need to move plants around. And sometimes it's just nice to move everything around as well, so your house feels a little bit more fresh and exciting when really all you've done is just moved a couple of your plants around. So there you have it. Nice, quick, easy. I say nice, quick and easy, but I imagine if you have hundreds of houseplants, this is like a nightmare chore. And I think even for me doing what I've done, I think it still took me a real good few hours to do it. And I haven't even done all of the like tidying up inside properly, but it does feel good to start giving my plants some TLC again, because we have houseplants because we like to look after them. And winter, they don't want our love. They just want to be left alone and ignored because they're, I don't know, grumpy and want sleep. Ugh, who knows? So that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like and subscribe and all that jazz. And if you have any additional tips that you would like to add, I would love to hear them. So please leave them down in the comments. I've been Nicole from Whittle Grove. Have fun out in the garden.